Welcome to another Glacial Gold Hunter side quest. Right here I have a bucket of dirt, but it's a special bucket of dirt.
I got a jar of dirt, and guess what's inside it?
Now no, it's not pay dirt or anything like that. It's literally just dirt, but it came from northern Minnesota, between Tower and Sudan, where the DNR had in the past done some testing on the till samples, and what they found were areas with higher concentrations of gold specks. Well, we've gone up there a couple times hunting for that. And this bucket came from one of those big dots where there's supposedly some gold just sitting there in the till. Now, I collected this on one of my other trips, but it didn't really fit in the video, so we're doing a side quest with it. Here's some never seen before footage of that. I remember it like it was yesterday. So when the DNR took their sample, they just took it right in the till. So one last thing I'm gonna do before I go is I'm gonna kind of use the logging road here. They shoved up a bunch of dirt here, and this would be native soil, native till. I'm gonna dig into that and take a sample and see if I can replicate what the DNR found. The bugs are so bad. Oh my gosh. Putting on the bug shirt again. Now this classifier is pretty good at filling it up to about there. But beyond that it gets a little tricky, so I'm going to go back to my top of the bucket classifier and really get this one full. And that'll be the last of my water. This is very hard digging. Definitely have to be a significant amount of gold to make me want to do this very much. But in this case, the curiosity just makes it worth it. This till is so muddy, if you were to take a high banker out here with a recirculating system, it just wouldn't work. It just turned into mud sludge right away. Probably why I don't ever see anybody out here doing this. I'm going to call that full. There's a full bucket of classified material. We'll see if there's any specks in that. If the DNR was telling the truth, there should be at least one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this and see if there's any specks of gold, any minute trace that we can see that came from the till. Now because I'm looking for even the smallest trace of gold, I want to make sure there's no contamination anywhere around. So I'm going to scrub out my sluice box, make sure everything's out of there before we start. Okay, I think every single tiny little speck is clean off of that. Our sluice box is clean, so we're at a pristine, sterile environment to run our test. Gosh dang it.
Language.
Flower Gold Wizard warned about this. So the thing that makes this possible is a smooth water head. It fits right on your river sluice and you can turn it into a high banker. I don't have a high banker setup, but I got this low V collection mat that I've been sliding it over, and it's a pretty tight fit. Well, it was a little too much of a fit, and these little clips that hold it on there broke off. Lesson learned. Don't force it over a collection mat.
Do not put that small clip size on there. It will break.
I actually think it'll sit on there well enough that we can still run the test, but learn from my mistakes. Don't force it, it'll break. Now this isn't river sediment or anything, it hasn't been washed. It's literally just dirt, just clay and till from the forest floor, from a logging road. So this water's gonna get really, really dirty really fast. So I'm gonna keep my hose just running to hopefully kind of clean some of the water as we do this, because I don't want it to get too viscous. If it is, it'll just pick up the gold and throw it on out of the sluice box anyway. But I'm gonna run it pretty slow to hopefully capture the tiniest little specks. It's been sitting in my truck a while. It's a little packed. The water's gonna get dirty real fast. Now up there in that part of Minnesota is the Iron Range, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of heavy ironstones in this material, and I don't want it to clog up, but I also don't want to run it too fast, so I'm just gonna let it clear out, just let it creep, because the specks of gold are supposed to be really small. I don't want to rinse any of them out of here. Kind of treat this like a Miller table, more or less. But to me, it kind of looks like the riffles are getting all packed off, so I'm gonna just clean out my bucket, or clean out my mat a couple different times here, I think. It's getting all packed off with just those heavy iron formations. And if the riffles are packed off too hard, the gold is gonna just skate over the top. So I think I'll clean it out frequently just to make sure that I'm catching everything that needs to be caught. I got water continually coming out of here. I thought I was a little too close to the house and I don't want it to affect the foundation. So I pulled it away a little bit. It's taking a long time to go through this bucket. I'm running this really slow. There we go. We're reduced down to that much concentrates. Let's go pan it out and see if we can see any sign of gold at all. So that whole bucket of material has been reduced to just a little bit of really heavy stuff. And that's easily panable. So we'll put it in a pan and see if there's any gold specks at all that we can see. Even after all that panning, it's still muddy. Wiggle, wiggle, wash. Wiggle, wiggle, wash. And when the DNR did these studies, they found just the tiniest little specks. They weren't big at all, barely visible, like thinner than a human hair kind of stuff. So I'm trying to be pretty careful as I wash this to leave every little heavy speck in the pan. All right, there's a little bit left in there. Maybe more than there should be, but I'm gonna try to toss it back. I'm gonna go pretty slow. You know what? This would be way easier if I classified it. All these little pieces here just make it more difficult. So I'm gonna run it through my strainer, just make it easier. That should make it a lot easier. And there are a few of the tiniest little specks of gold you've ever seen. There's one there, two tiny, maybe three tiny little specks there. And then there's another one down here. That one and that one are the clearest gold. Those also appear to be gold. And we are talking microscopic. These are tiny. So yes, once again, we confirm that there is gold just sitting there in the till. The tiniest of microscopic specks, but it's there. Now, if there was a good river that would maybe collect and isolate some of these strings of gold, it might be worth panning for, but I don't think I'll be panning the till too much. Still, I think it's a really cool experiment, even though it's not profitable. But thank you guys for coming along on the side quest. Come on back for the next one. Bye-bye.